In this video, we're going to show you how to use the new store creation wizard to quickly create web stores using the new InkSoft store platform. Now, before we get into that process, I want to point out one feature that is certainly relevant and very helpful. So here I am logged into the InkSoft admin portal, and I'm at the dashboard. Now, if I scroll down, you'll notice there's a new item here that says pending web stores. So in the event that you start to create a new web store and you save and exit, all of your pending web stores will be located here. So think about if you're out engaging with a coach or a customer and you start to create a web store from your phone or tablet or laptop, you can save and exit and always come back to complete and continue that setup process. So you'll know here it shows the store name, it shows the setup progress, and then of course you have the primary button here which is continue setup, or you can elect to delete that particular store. Maybe you decide you don't need it after all. You can elect to delete it and clear it from that workspace. So let's go ahead and get underway with the new store creation wizard. Now that I'm logged in as an InkSoft administrator, I'm going to hover my mouse over web stores and click the button that says create new. Now once I make that selection, here we can choose from the various store types. Now, of course, store types are relevant to the license type that you have. But what you'll notice is the very first option is the new InkSoft store platform, and you can see that it's designated as beta. So, of course, you're going to have access to all of the other store types, and you'll continue to have that access until we make a future announcement. So, to be clear, at some point in the future, we will sunset the older technology in favor of this new technology. So with that said, nothing's being taken away or removed. You can still continue to use the traditional platform if that's your comfort base or preference. However, I can elect to create a store in the new platform. So once I click create, here you're going to get a little heads up indication. This is a reminder that this technology is in beta, which means we've put it through rigorous testing. We're satisfied with its performance, but there are chances for minor hiccups that we couldn't foresee or predict. So being that that's the case, make sure if you do experience an issue, please report it by calling our toll-free number, which is displayed here, or zap us an email at support@inksoft.com. That way we can resolve those issues as quickly as possible. Now I will point out the way we've architected this new framework, we can deploy, test, and manage issues very quickly. So what I'm going to do now is click OK. I got your message. I'm ready to start with that new store creation process. So let me introduce you to this workspace here. This is a responsive workspace, which means, again, you can be at a meeting with a customer and be on your phone or be on a tablet and actually start the process of creating a store. So this is fully responsive. Now at the very top, you'll notice a green status indicator, and that indicator will showcase the progress that you've made as you go along in the steps to create a store. Now, the other useful feature here is this index. So notice if I click steps completed, it's going to roll down an index of the steps involved in creating an online store. Now, the beauty is once you save and you go to the next step, you can always go back in time to any previous state to modify or edit any of the settings. So not only is this an index of the progress involved in creating a store, but you can also go back to any previous state, and I'll showcase that in a moment's time. Now you can click to expand and roll this up. So if you want to get out of your way, just simply click it again and it will fold up. Now, the very first step in this process is assigning a store name and a store directory. So a store name is the official name that customers will see. They'll see it on the email receipt. They'll see it on their packing slip. You'll see it in the work order, the order manager. So the key here is to make sure that this is relevant and this is easy to discern from your other stores. So make it descriptive. In this case, I'll put in Brophy Prep. Now notice when you enter in something, you'll get a green check mark that means that you've done that successfully. Now if I click in a field and move away from that field, InkSoft is going to tell you, hey, this is required. So get accustomed to our validation messaging. That's part of the new interface, is to ensure that you can do things quickly and with confidence and error-free, because we're going to give you these notifications. So of course, the store name is the public name. The store directory is the permanent store ID. And effectively, this is going to be your main domain name / the name of the store. So in this case, I can put in Brophy, and that would become the name or the way to navigate to this store. Now, in later states, you'll see how you can actually use a custom domain name for these stores. So most commonly, folks assign a store directory. So it's going to be yourwebsite.com/ whatever directory name you input here, or you can elect later to assign a custom domain name. Now again, consider making this short and relevant because this is what a customer might use to navigate to the store. So now that I've inputted those two fields, you'll notice they're checked off, which means I can click the next button to go on to the next step. Now you'll notice as we progress to the next step, now I can save and exit. So once you've completed the first step, now I can save my progress and exit this creation process. And as I showed you, from the right below the dashboard, you'll have that pending store little index of all the stores that you've saved progress. Alrighty, now you can also see that I can go back to a previous state. So if I want to go back to the name and directory, I just go to the index and go right to that step. In contrast, I can go move forward from that index. All right, so the next step in this sequence is contact info. Who will customers contact if they need help? Now, the contact us is a navigation item that displays on the storefront. So if somebody clicks that, they'll see contact information. So if a customer has a question about placing an order or any details about the order itself, you can display your company contact information, and that's what is defaulted here. So you don't have to type in your company info every single time. We default your main contact info here, so you can just skip past this step if you always want your information to display. Now you also have the ability to override this and put in different contact info. Maybe you're hosting a corporate fulfillment store for a local business and you want employees to contact maybe an HR person. Well, you could display that contact information in contrast. Now, one useful feature here at the very bottom, there's the option to check to show the location as a Google map on that contact us little dialog. So if you have a retail space and you want people to see where you're located, you can certainly check that and the map will display. Maybe you're a home-based business or you work out of an industrial space that maybe isn't retail oriented, you can choose to not display the map. So it's purely your option. And you can disable this later as well. So nothing here is permanent. Once you create the store, you can always go to edit mode, you can go to settings, and you can change everything about this. So here I'm going to go ahead and elect to display the map, and I'll click next to go to the third step in this process. Now the third step is optional, and you'll see many of these steps are optional, which means you can breeze right past them. So this is the ability to upload a logo to display on the store. Now if you don't upload a logo, the store name will display. Now there's two logos you can upload here. You can upload the main logo and then sort of a favicon, a store icon. So in this case, I'll click Upload Logo and I'll browse for the logo on my computer. And InkSoft will upload that. Now notice I can replace or delete. So hey, I uploaded the icon. I should have uploaded the store logo. So I'll go back by selecting Replace, click the logo, and InkSoft is going to go and upload it. Now here's a very important step. When you upload a logo, InkSoft automatically analyzes the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors and will automatically establish a color palette to use as part of the store branding. So by uploading a logo, you've just saved yourself a bunch of time. You don't have to go into Photoshop or use other tools to find the web colors to display in the storefront. So again, that provides some value, and you'll find that we actually do a lot of automation and some pretty slick background processes to, again, help you save time and accelerate the process of creating a store. Now, optionally, I can upload a favicon, and here's a slick little feature as I upload a favicon, and that's always a square iteration of a logo. As soon as you upload that, we actually give you a preview here of the store name as it would display in a website browser tab, and you can see that favicon displaying to the left of it. So again, branding is key. Here you can brand the browser tab with the store identity and, of course, the store name. So once I'm done with that, I can click Next to go on to the next state in this process. All right, the next state is production schedule. Is the store going to print and sort of process orders on demand, or are you planning sort of on printing and batch all of the orders on a fixed date in the future? So on demand means as orders come in, I'm going to go ahead and attend to them, print, process, pack, ship. So if you're doing direct to garment or other processes, or maybe you have inventory on the shelf, you would elect to use on demand. Here, expected production date, if you want to communicate to your shoppers that, hey, we're taking orders for 30 days, and then we're going to start to produce on this date. So the logic that InkSoft will use is it's going to take the expected production date, which you can assign from the calendar here. So I'll assign this February 28th. Then it will add whatever shipping logic you have configured for this store. And we'll set up shipping methods here in just a moment's time. So basically it's going to say you're going to produce on this date, but you have a 2-day processing time, and then you have anywhere from a 3 to 7 day in transit. So InkSoft is going to compile all that logic for you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click Next to go into the next state once I've configured my, production settings. Here, print methods. Now, you don't have to do this now. You can come back later. However, you can't launch a store unless you assign a shipping method. So that would be set into a pending state. So for shipping method, if I click Yes and I click Next, I have the ability to choose from shipping methods that I've already configured in InkSoft under Settings and Shipping. And if I select No, I'm just going to bypass this altogether, but I can't finish launching that store until this is configured. So if I select Yes, this will allow you to access all of the shipping methods that you've already pre-configured in InkSoft, again under Settings. Here is the first example of where you can save settings for default for future stores. So let's say that you always use configurations. You can actually save these configurations and skip right past this if most of your stores have the same general makeup and composition. So you'll notice a little check mark down here that says Save these settings for future stores. Now, I also have the ability to click the button that says Select Shipping Methods. So if I want to introduce more than one ship method, like UPS Priority, maybe I want to introduce FedEx, I can go ahead and make that selection, and now I have 2 shipping options that my customers can choose from. Now, we also give you an example of your configuration here: processing days, transit time, maybe you have a rush markup, yes or no. So just kind of a short code that tells you how the shipping method is configured. Now, you also can remove a shipping method by clicking the little plus icon to the right, and you can also drag and drop these ship methods. So if you want to sort of reorder the display of these, you have the ability to reorder those. You also have the ability to clear methods. So if you just want one, you can roll those up. All right, so let's go on to the next stage by clicking Next. And again, you can always see that we save your progress as you move forward. Here we have pickup locations. This is optional, but you can make your customers come to you or go somewhere else. So pickup, think of this as, hey, we're batch printing a bunch of Fill Day or Spiritware, and we're going to deliver it to the school or to a coach or to a parent, and they're going to distribute it. Or they can pick it up at your local facility or at the practice field. There's a lot of ways to take advantage of this feature. Now, since this is optional, you can click No and just skip past this. If you click Yes, we're going to give you the ability to configure a pickup location. So what I can do now is put the location name. So in this case, I can put in practice field. You can add an address for that pickup location. So if the pickup location is your retail space, maybe you have more than one space, you can actually put in an address here, and that will educate customers where they can pick up. Processing time, very much like the production scheduling, you can put in the logic to add to the expected date, whether it's on demand or you're producing in the future, and that will signal to a customer, approximate when they'd expect to be able to pick up. Now you can also put in pickup details and instructions here. This is a great way to describe and set expectations. All orders will be available. Coach Bob will distribute on the practice field on X date. So again, you can describe this for your customers. So go ahead and click Create. So here we have our pickup location. Now you can actually edit your pickup location, remove, or you can add an additional pickup location. So this could be, again, pick up at practice field, pick up at, Friday night game, whatever it might be. And again, you can reorder the way in which these display. Let's go on to the next state. So as I click Next and we save our progress, here we are at checkout settings. So this is how your customers can purchase, and this really is going to dictate the checkout experience. So do you want to require customers to pay or make that optional, meaning they can arrange payment later? So here, these are defaulted. You can also save these settings for default for future stores. So again, if you don't even want to think about this and you have standard store programs that you're offering, you can breeze right past this. So make your decision whether you want to require or make optional. So customer payment, customer billing address. I do want to point out one option here, which is customer shipping address. So if your only ship method is going to be pickup at practice field where Coach Bob will distribute, well, you shouldn't require your customers to enter shipping information because you're not going to ship anything. So it's one less step in the checkout workflow. And again, you can control that. Do you want to accept purchase orders? Do you want to require that a purchase order is actually uploaded and attached? And do you want to allow for gift messaging? So again, you can toggle on and off. And again, you can save this for default for future stores. I'll go ahead and click Next to move along in the next state, which is custom checkout fields. Now, this is our favorite new feature that we've added to this new platform. This feature is super nimble and super versatile. And let me kind of take you through the definition of custom checkout fields. Now, this is optional, so you can click no and skip right past this. If you elect yes and click next, here you'll be able to configure and actually see a custom checkout field. So think about those times where you have to deliver spiritware to elementary school and there's 15 homeroom teachers and you need to package and sort of prepare and maybe cartonize all the printed goods based on where they're going, right? Routing. So in this case, I could have a multiple choice dropdown that I'm going to require the parent or purchaser to select homeroom teacher. So this is a way to collect any custom data in the checkout process that will be necessary for routing, fulfillment, even decoration. A lot of ways to take advantage of this. So there's two options here. You can have a text entry box, and maybe you just want to type, have somebody enter text into a box, and that's all the data you need to collect. Or your second choice is a multiple choice dropdown. Now you have the ability to make this field required, so they can't complete the checkout, they can't move forward until they make a selection or make an input. Filled label. So if I type in a filled label, and I'm going to scroll down the bottom here as I do this, notice at the very bottom there's a preview function here. Preview this custom field. So if I type in filled label like select homeroom teacher, which I've already previously typed in, so select homeroom teacher, and then you can type in filled instructions. Please select your student's homeroom teacher. But notice as I start to type this in, dynamically you see this update into the preview. This is a way for you to be certain of your label, your instructions, and your settings, so you know that once you publish this, it's going to be in good order. Now for filled choices, these are again, if you have multiple choice, enter on line 1. So I could put Miss Abilene. Then you go to the second line by hitting return and put in Miss Barnes, etc. So just always put something on a separate line. And you'll notice if you go to that preview and click that drop down, you'll see how that responds. So again, super powerful way to control routing and how things will be delivered. A lot of ways to take advantage of this. So once you're done and you're satisfied with this, you can click create and you've just added a custom checkout field. Now, just like you saw before with pickup options, you can add more than one custom checkout field. So maybe you want to drop down, maybe you want to collect text. Sky's the limit. There is no limitation for how many of these you can have. Obviously, you don't want to create a tremendous amount of friction in the checkout process, but nonetheless a very powerful and useful feature. Now, as you've seen before, I can rearrange the order if I have more than one. I can edit at any time, and of course I can remove. So once I'm done configuring, I can go to the next state by clicking the next button. Here we are at the 10th state, which is store notifications. So when you receive orders, do you want to get notifications and how and who? So here's my default sort of admin email. Now I can put in whether I want instant order notifications or a daily order summary at the end of the day that kind of compiles all the activities. And do I want ship notifications? So as orders ship, do I want to be notified? Now you can add more than one configuration here. So I can put in another email address and configure a separate sort of configuration altogether. So think production manager, maybe salespersons, sales team rather, art department, whomever it might be, you can configure custom notifications here. I'll go ahead and click next as we save and go to the next state. This is an optional. This is adding social media icons that would display on the storefront. So there's two ways to consider this. You can display your social media channels and profiles, which is a great way to create additional selling opportunity. So if you create a web store that's going to be a fundraising program or a spiritware program, well, you probably should brand your social media presence and educate parents and other participants of your business and offering, and that could create additional selling opportunity. So what you can do is just type in your social media handles here. So for Twitter, InkSoft would be /InkSoft, and you can see that just configures. Now the other way to use this is maybe you're doing a program for a big organization and they want to display their social media profiles. Well, in that case, you would enter in their social media channels, and that's what would display. So two ways to use this. And again, this is optional, so you can just choose to skip past this altogether. Now, here we are at store policies. This is a regulation. This is a requirement that you display terms of use and privacy policy. But there's some other value here. Now you can just go ahead and click next because we've provided generic terms that will display. However, you can override those terms and create custom ones. So in this case, you'll notice terms of use and there's a drop down. I can select custom if I've previously created custom, and I can modify that. Now I can delete the custom, I can cancel out of this, I can save any changes that I make. Now you can always go to generic and you can view, and if you view and edit, you can again save that as a template, as a custom sort of term. So in most cases, the generic terms are going to be suitable. However, you can choose to override and create different templates and custom templates. It's at your disposal. Now, one really important section here, which is the thank you message. This is a way for you to put in custom messaging that will display on the final page in the brand new checkout experience. So think about putting promotional value here. For example, you might want to say, hey, enjoy 10% off on your next order using this promotional code or discount code. So great way to message your customers and personalize and brand that experience by entering that content here. And again, you can save as custom, so you can always preserve the generic terms and come back and use the custom terms. So feel free to modify these and experiment, but there's definitely a little bit of marketing value here at the thank you message. I think that's the most important option here. All right, let's click next to move on to the next state. Domain settings. Now, by default, if you have a main domain name assigned to your InkSoft powered store and you want to elect to use that, again, demo.inksoft.com/Brophy, which we configured in the very first step. That's defaulted, just click next and go. Or you can choose to configure a custom domain name. So if this is going to be a national selling program, if it has some legs to it, meaning it's going to go for 12 months, you may choose to assign a custom domain name to that store. Now, in the event that you don't have a custom domain name yet assigned to inksoft.com, we extend a free public URL, which is stores.inksoft.com with free site security, SSL, so it encrypts credit card transactions and checkout sessions, things of that nature. So there's a few options here. So what I can do now is click next to move on to the final state in this process, which is the ability to add products. Now you can skip this. Now if a store doesn't have products, very much like if a store doesn't have a shipping method, well, you can't sell anything. So that would be set to a pending web store. So perhaps you don't have products or art configured yet. That's the next stage in your selling process. You can get everything done for the store and then come back after you've configured your products and add those to the store. Now, if you click yes that you want to add products, maybe you've proactively added or created products and loaded those into InkSoft. Here you can search your product catalog of all of your pre-decorated products. So keyword search, and that goes to the point of making sure you structure product names and tags where you can search intelligently. So you can scroll through your different products here. Of course, you can click the magnifying glass to see the product details. So if you want to see a preview front and back, you can click through to see the different sides that are available. So I can dismiss that view, and I can click the plus symbol to add that product right onto the workspace here. So you can continue to click to configure the products that you want to display. Don't be so concerned with the sort order because you can do that on the store once it's generated. Now, in contrast, you can always remove products from the store by clicking the little X icon. All right, so if I go to the bottom, you'll notice where it says Complete Store Setup. So as I click that, InkSoft is going to save and finish the process of creating the store. And of course, you're going to get a success message, which really isn't a step. It's just simply a confirmation that that store is completed. Now here, you can click to go right to the store, or you can elect to click the button that says Go to the store. And of course, as I do that, I can then use the edit mode and configure that store. And of course, in order to do that, I would just select edit mode, and here I can dynamically edit and modify the store. So again, there's a dedicated video on the edit mode, so make sure to tune into that to learn all the features that are available for styling and controlling the aesthetics of the store, in addition to all the features and components and settings for the store. So if you have any questions, if you need assistance, if you'd like some help, please reach out to the InkSoft Success Squad, and you can do so by calling 800-410-3048 and hit extension 1. Or if you prefer, you can zap an email to support@inksoft.com.